So today we're going to talk about children's spirituality. When a baby is born, what's the first thing parents do? We know they kind of look, fingers, toes, are they breathing okay? So we worry about their health. But after that, bring the baby home. What do we think about? I'm sure people aren't holding their babies and saying, oh, I can't wait till she grows up or he grows up to be the most beautiful kid in the neighborhood. Or we don't say, oh, I can't wait till he's rich and successful and has lots of money and is very famous. No, we think about, we want our child to be a good person. And that doesn't just always happen naturally. We have to work at it. And one of the things, I'm going to be reading a little of this, is that we all have to work together for that. Because new parents, as you know, you hear it all the time, there was no guidance, there was no instruction booklet. Where do we learn from? We learn from all the people around us. And it's very important for the people here especially. We have a very small group of young kids with young parents, and as my friend over here, Sophia, would say when she walks into a room, oh, these godmothers and godfathers. And that's what you are. You are here, and you are helping, even in the littlest way, to help all parents raise their children, because it does take a village. So now I want to ask, what brought each of you here to Channing Church? You each have a unique path. Our kids, not so much. It's pretty much the same path. What brought you here? My parents bring me here. I mean, that's how it started. They don't say, oh, Mom, when they're 3 years old, I think I'd like to go to Channing Church because I've heard wonderful things about it. No, that's not how it works. It's the parents talk to other people and they say, I think that this would be a great place to raise my child. I love the young ones. I mean, I feel very fortunate that we have a bunch of young children this year, because I'm really finding that after years and years of teaching the older grades in school, that these kids are fun. They're excited. They know so much. They teach me so much, but they're just eager to learn. Their minds are like sponges, and they keep on taking information. When we leave here after the message for all ages, we go back into the parish hall. They get it. And I'm surprised that they get it. I'm thinking I'm going to have to teach. I'm not really teaching. I'm kind of just going along with them. We're learning together. Now, I haven't worked with the older kids in this church, but I've worked with them everywhere else. It's a little more challenging then. Even the ones who are eager and have been here a long time and know the routines, and I don't know Kyle, but I imagine he could relate to this, is the questions get harder, the thoughts. They might still be eager, but it's like, really? You really want me to believe that? Or, well, how come Susie's tell me that this is true, and Robbie's parents are telling him this is true? It gets harder, and it's not like the answers are going to be easy. So that's what we're up against. We're up against, well, I shouldn't say up against, but we have a challenge, because we don't have all the answers, but we need to help people find the answers. We need to help young people find the answers. So I was looking at a lot of different things about how we raise children in a spiritual faith. And I would like to just read a list, because I think this is if I can find my list, this is an interesting list, and I think all of you know this, but when I started reading, I said, oh yeah, that is what we do. That is what we need to do. And one of the first things is, you have to, as parents, you have to clarify your own beliefs. You have to have an idea, a good idea of what you believe and what you think is best for your child. And you really should start, I mean, how many people, and it could be people here too, it definitely was me, how many people say, oh, my child is 5 years old now, I think I better go back to church. You know, and that's the kind of thing people start thinking about. So you have to introduce spirituality early on. You have to make it part of your life right from the beginning. Don't pretend to know all the answers, because by the time they get to be Kyle's age, they know we don't. Use daily events. In teaching, we call them teachable moments, but use daily events to talk about spirituality. Instill an appreciation of nature. We know here Channing Church, that's really, really important. We really care about the world. Tell stories. There's a lot of stories that either you know or you know about, and there are a lot of books out there now about spirituality that you wouldn't know are considered that. If you look at books, Dr. Seuss's book, Horton Hears a Who, that is a really, really great book for kids to learn about how everybody matters. You wouldn't think of it at first, but it is. We just read last week the Butter Battle book, and that was a Dr. Seuss book basically about escalation of battles, and it taught us how silly that can be. There are a lot of other books out there, and I think that parents should really look at them to see. Now, they have a lot of those books like All About Honesty and things like that. Those books are fine, but you want to get these books that you have to think about. So there's a lot of books out there. You need to build family traditions. I mean, we've talked about this over the years. People of my generation, we were at home at the table in the morning, maybe not the afternoon, but at the night. We had a tradition of eating together, whether we wanted it as teenagers or not, but we were at the table. We had a time when we did homework. We had a time when we could watch television. So we had time when my family, my kids, we brought them camping. That was our tradition, to go camping, to sit in the woods, to be still, to read. We had lots of things, and that's important, to have some kind of traditions that when your kids look back, they can say, yeah, that's what we did. We did that as a family, and it's kind of cool to think that way. And one of the other things is introduce your kids to simple forms of prayer. Like it doesn't have to be much, even if it's just grace at the table. Teach them that you can actually stop and say something to God, thank people, have gratitude for things that are going on in your life. Those are important things you have to do them with your child for them to even think about doing them. You should really consider volunteering with your children, which I know some of our parents already do. And last but not least, listen to your children. I learned so much from these kids. In all my years in school, I learned a lot too, but I'm just awed by these kids, how much they seem to understand what we're talking about. I'm not teaching them. I'm finding myself a facilitator with these young people. And Sophia has a lot to teach me all the time. Is Finn back there somewhere? I thought I saw him come in. Finn and Eliza are always telling me something that I have to think about and change what I'm doing, because they come up with a great idea in the middle of class. It's a challenge, but it's great. So as I said before, it takes a village because our parents need help. And parents, I know there's only a few of you out there, young parents, don't be afraid to ask. And if somebody gives you some advice that you don't like, you don't take it. But we've all been there. Even if we don't have children ourselves, we've been around children. So don't forget to ask, because all the godmothers and all the godfathers in this building right now, they have something good to offer you. So our big plan is to help our children make this a better world, and I think that we can all do that if we work together.
So as I stand here, I am looking out on a remarkable group of people. You are the people that keep Channing Memorial Church functioning. You keep our doors open as a liberal religious light here in Newport and on Aquidneck Island. You keep our doors open by your gifts of time, talent, and treasure. And I, for one, because I've known this church for almost 20 years, I, for one, am very happy that you have not let challenging times throughout the history of this church get the better of you, and that you have worked to keep this church alive. And this Sunday, we want to recognize all the people who volunteer. Yeah, that's the term that we use. We say volunteer. We say volunteer now in modern church language to describe what people do here to keep a church functioning, to keep a church alive. And we probably will continue to use that term because it is convenient and accepted. But in a church setting, that term, I think, is far too limiting because it does not truly express what people are giving of their time and talent to their church. Though we use this secular term volunteer, I would like you to consider that what you are really doing is ministry. Teaching and ushering and preparing food and singing and operating our many programs through committees and, of course, coming to committee meetings, wielding hammer and saw, tending the flowers, decorating the sanctuary, folding orders of service is all ministry. Let me explain. Now, I may hold the position and the title of minister, and the work I do, preach, counsel, manage, teach, is by definition of a person in my position doing ministry. But ministry is far broader than just what someone in my position does. The term ministry in church speak comes from Latin and Greek words that mean servant or service, often relating to or seen as doing a service to a higher cause. From my experience, those who give their time and talent, who give service to a church, are giving themselves to and for a higher cause. People who serve the church in all of the ways that we serve the church have moved from the world of I and me to the world of us and we. Now, of course, there has been and always will be people who move into a church setting for self-aggrandizement or power, like wanting to be the proverbial big fish in the small pond. Or they try to do something or get involved in doing something here to grind a particular axe. But that is not true for the vast majority of people who give their time and talent in a church setting. The vast majority of people who give their time and talent are working to keep a religious movement or keep a church alive and let it grow and develop. They are working to help others. They are working, if this is their theology, to glorify God on earth. They all do it for causes greater than themselves. They are being servant in the broadest sense to a cause. They are doing ministry. Now, the language of volunteering or volunteerism has come into the churches from the secular nonprofit world, probably by way of the megachurches that set up have a massive amount of staff in all different departments. But the term volunteer really means that a person is an outside, non-paid resource who steps in to help an organization to fill a slot or fill a need. Such as picking up trash, helping build a house with habitat, reading to children at a hospital, making cookies for a school bake sale, sorting food at the local food pantry. Volunteering is what a person does in a place that is important to them, but not the place that belongs to them. A volunteer swoops in, gives a measure of what they deem appropriate, and then darts out. Of course, at Channing, we pick up trash, we make cookies, we read to children, we build things. But the motivation and emotional connection is different. We are doing it for the religious community and for the people that we care about. We are serving to and for ourselves, and to and for others in this place that is ours, that belongs to us. When we engage in serving this church, we are no longer just coming to church, we are the church. Contributing is part of the essence of being a religious community. It is doing service, it is doing ministry for the community. Now, I know that there are many demands made on all of us. There's probably not a person here that isn't very busy. So you can ask, why do people like you come forward to serve their church? Well, for some people, they believe it's just the right thing to do. They believe that an individual who is a member of a church has a responsibility to help that church function. Some people do it because they believe deeply in the mission of their church. They see the mission of their church as being significant, and they wish to do their part to actualize that mission. For us at Channing, this means we work to provide an environment and means for spiritual growth and intellectual exchange. Show by our actions care and compassion within our congregation, the community, and the world. Promote peace, justice, and respect for all people and our planet. And take care of our historic sacred spaces. Some people give their time at a church to make friends or to spend time with friends. There is actually a unique relational bond that comes from serving together with someone. You know it, you can feel it. I know I feel it when I come into a group that is working here at a church, when you are working with someone that you consider to be your friend. For some people, coming and serving in a church is a way to help others in the larger community, knowing that when they go to bed at night, they have done a part, whatever that has been, in making a positive change in the world. And for some people, giving their time and talent is a way to ensure that their church's legacy will continue long into the future. In the end, though, it all boils down that people who give their time and talent to a church want to make a difference. They want to live what Rick Warren has called a purpose-driven life, doing something to give back and help out, to step beyond just attention to themselves or their own individual needs. Each of us has unique gifts that we can use to minister to others. And each of us, as members and friends of an energetic church like Channing Memorial, actually needs to contribute to the entire body. And conversely, the entire body needs the contribution and the gifts of each person. And it's not hard to give a gift. And though our choir isn't here, I'm sort of preaching to the choir, as this goes, because many of you already know this. So it's not hard to give a gift to this congregation. If you're coming on Sunday, tell the membership chair, Ruth Jernigan, there's Ruth, a new membership chair of that you are available on some Sundays to pass out order services and collect the offering, in other words, to be an usher. Or tell the fellowship coordinators that you are going to be here on a certain Sunday, and that you are open to learning how to make coffee. They'll show you how to make coffee and set the table, or just sign up to bring some coffee or some food. Willing to pound some nails or paint? Tell the property committee that you wish to do that. Abby is right there. Raise your hand, Abby. Go talk to her. If you would like to, if you are able to read prepared text in a good, strong voice, talk to me or to the worship committee chair about being a worship associate. Play an instrument or sing. Talk to Janet and become part of our music program. because when it comes down to it, when you serve, when you engage in ministry, church happens.